When the question applies to long-term abuse is a long-term illness. Like, it is. And it comes
It will
with
also come with a set of illnesses.
a set of illnesses. You do not leave long-term emotional or physical abuse without complex PTSD and a chance at fibromyalgia, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or ulcerative colitis, or an ulcerative condition of some kind, because it turns out that stress allows ulcers to form. You may walk out with a migraine condition because myofascial tension leads to migraines.
It's just head trauma.
As is head trauma.
That's the discussion we're having.
You may walk out like I did with bone infections due to cracked teeth.
So you while you are in that situation, you're in a long term, and after
you're in a war zone.
Yeah.
One of the things that they have found in studying people who are going through long-term emotional and or physical abuse is that the complex PTSD is worse than that comes from being in an active war zone. It's worse.
And this is because the active war zone is everyday life.
And here's the thing. This is the difference between PTSD and C-PTSD. In PTSD, the triggers are simple. Gunshots, explosions, strobing lights, loud booming noises, helicopters, the sound of tanks. And likely when you go back to society, right, you can avoid them. And I'm not trying to denigrate it. It's one of the worst things you can do to a human being is to give someone PTSD. And there is at least a feeling when you're in a war zone that you've got a gun. You've got armor. If you shoot someone, the army will probably be okay with it.
You've got buddies, you're here for a reason, you're here with a plan.
And you go into it trained. Now, the training itself gives you a kind of PTSD.
That's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation. That one may make you respond to yelling, to aggressive stances in people. In fact, they found that military training is more likely to give you C-PTSD than the war zone is. We're
C-PTSD, but
complex post-traumatic stress disorder is found in abuse survivors. It generally takes the form of giving you other neurodivergent personality disorder issues, like mine gave me OCPD, my child's gave them reactive attachment disorder. So it messes with you mentally, literally changes you on a tetragenic level. Tetragenetic level, thank you. Specifically, C-PTSD changes your DNA, and then you pass it down to your kids. But C-PTSD is complex, literally, that's what it means, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And in cases of abuse, your triggers are society itself. It's everywhere. Unlike military PTSD, your triggers are conversations that you have with someone, where you're afraid that someone is angrily washing a dish, and what that will mean for you. Where you're afraid when someone pushes their chair out a little too harshly. When you're terrified because your partner did their laundry, but not your laundry. And what does that mean? And you're constantly tying yourself in knots and straining and stressing over what does every aspect of my interactions with those around me socially mean for my safety and well-being. And if the question is, does that affect you? Yeah. It affects every inch of you. It affects how you dress yourself. It affects how you hold yourself. one of the things that Ian as a massage therapist has found is that there's a posture that comes with C-PTSD. It looks like this. And it has long-term health repercussions. Because people are, well, I mean, we talked about it.
Yeah.
You hold yourself differently. It changes how you walk. It changes how you talk. It changes whether or not you try and pursue a promotion at work. It changes what kind of jobs you'll decide you can and cannot have.
Yeah. It is a gigantic, complicated, tangled mess.
And spiritually, you basically have to figure out who you are. Not who you were and how to get back there, because that's not gonna happen. But magic comes from a sense of identity, a defining who you are and how you handle things and what you're throwing at your problems. And what C-PTSD does is it strips you of your identity. It turns you into a tangled ball of symptoms rather than a person, because that's what they want. They want to be able to button mash and get you to respond in certain predictable ways. And that's what you become. You become your responses instead of who you would have been. So now you have to figure out who you are before you can do magic. Now, can you use magic to figure out who you are? Yeah, absolutely. I did that. I looked at my life after 10 years of abuse and said, who the fuck am I? And I decided that my best tool was how I figured out who I was in the...
Figuring out who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
I decided that the best way to figure out who I was to do it the same way I did it the first time around. So I started my cunning training over again at the beginning, and went through all the process all over again. And yeah, I basically worked it out. Turned out I'm an angrier person now, and I'm okay with that. And I'm pretty sure that the people who knew me in high school are like, you're angrier now? That's not possible. You were already a volcano. And it's like, now I'm a super volcano. So,
But it's the, and I'm okay with that. That's really the important point.
yeah, I keep getting like, you have wounds on your soul, and you should really focus on healing yourself and letting go. And it's like, nah.
No, I draw power from those wounds. Thank you.
Right, like, I know where the wounds are. I'm the one who could, like, label them, okay? I think I get to decide how I deal with them.
Empower me kind of
Besides,
thing.
doesn't keep them clean and infection free.
Right.
I'm good.